Hi, I'm Ray Gordon. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Normally I have chess videos here, but I often branch out into other slices of life like politics, retirement planning, or news. I even made a mayoral endorsement in New York City for this year, so you check the videos wherever the links are in your browser, and you might find something you like. Here I'm going to make a very brief video, and I'm going to posit a pet theory, which is based on a pet peeve. My theory is simple, that Asperger's syndrome, and if you don't know what it is, please look it up now and I'll wait. Okay, now that we're all on the same page, Asperger's syndrome is defined as a mental illness. I have a problem with that because if you examine the characteristics of an Aspie, as they are affectionately called by others, the Aspie is basically someone who cannot detect social cues, cannot detect lying, doesn't lie to others, and isn't violent, and generally isn't stupid. So, in our ultimate wisdom, we are calling somebody who is smarter than us, kinder than us, non-violent, and basically a good person, mentally ill because they can't function in a world of wolves. Well, I'll get to that in a second, but wolves meaning not dogs, as in not evolved, which goes back to my theory that an Aspie is actually a genetically superior version of a human, the way a dog is a genetically superior version of a wolf. And that the problems Aspies have is that they listen to wolves. They live by the rules of the wolves, who think everybody is a wolf, so that's, I guess, why they run the world as wolves. The wolf does not understand the dog. To the wolf, the human is just this creature. To the dog, the human is somebody who made it so that they don't have to hunt. They also made sure to look cute. A dog looks like a wolf pup for its entire life. The dog figured out the human kisses up to the human isn't violent, and humans started shooting the wolves for the dogs. The analogy for men is different because we don't have a superior species, so we turn to the government to play the role of the human to shoot the wolves, meaning we lock up violent people, we have laws against fraud, but it's all artificial. Eventually the DNA will evolve to where humans are nonviolent, or a certain species of human is nonviolent. And it will eventually reach the point where it can recognize itself versus the humans who are violent, stupid, grudge-holding, dishonest, sociopathic, basically. And not only will we pass laws against sociopaths, but any sociopathic behavior will eventually result in things like sterilization or a life prison sentence. You want to get violence out of our DNA? You hit somebody once, you get a good prison sentence and a warning. You do it twice, you get life in prison, and you get sterilized. Now let's see how violent we are as a species in 500 years. Apes evolved into humans, but not all of them did. Some of them remained apes. Loud, stupid, and violent. The humans, of course, evolved. We were smarter. Dogs are smarter wolves who decided that they didn't need to hunt and to build their lives around humans in a way wolves never did. Now take a look and you will see there are about 100 wolves in this country. And there are about 80 million dogs, maybe 100 million, I don't know the exact number, but it's quite a lot. Dog behavior is sustainable, wolf behavior is not. Now, applied to humans, you have to look and say, okay, which behaviors are going to make it? Well, one day, if we are ruled by Aspies, you're not going to need a police force. You're not even going to need locks. That's not expensive. The more Aspies who populate the planet, the more they are going to grow very sick and tired of paying for the stupidity of the people who don't evolve. As they gain power, they will increasingly use that power to neutralize the physical strength of the, quote, alpha male. But what's more interesting is, whether or not you agree with this theory, if you assume for a moment that it's correct, where are we going in the next 100 years? All the rules of socializing are wrong. You can say, well, men have to behave this way so that women will choose them, but it takes two to tango here. Do we celebrate the birth of a child if the parents are loud, stupid, and violent? Do we celebrate a $16,000 claimer when it's bred to two other $16,000 claimers versus, say, a future Kentucky Derby winner or someone who was bred to a Kentucky Derby winner? In other species, we breed the best of the best and you hope for the best. Here, we breed the worst of the worst and we get the worst and we pollute the earth, and the next thing you know, well, take a look at who your president is, as for which evolution is occurring. With that said, though, the unsustainability of loud, stupid, and violent behavior will eventually cause it to implode, as it did in 2009 when the financial system crashed. Then they got very evolved and socialist, and they wanted a bailout because they were good people. If they were good people, they wouldn't have stolen money from everybody and crashed the system. By bailing them out, of course, we enabled them, just like we enable con artists when somebody is victimized by them. And we always say that poor victim who was defrauded. Well, that poor victim who was defrauded funded the frauding of other people. The con artist makes $1 million conning somebody and uses that money to con more people. And of course, that reveals even more stupid behavior, unsustainable behavior. That is stupid, I should say. At some point, you have to wonder, is the problem the person who writes the fake review or the person who believes it? Now, applied to breeding, we have to look at who the women are choosing. Women want alpha males. No, stupid women want alpha males. Or alpha males is defined by the loud, stupid, and violent human. But what happens when the rules change? You see, the wolf rules are based on a world where everyone is a wolf, or the ape rules on a world where everyone is an ape. Our human rules are based on a world where everyone's a human, where all men are created equal, yet they aren't. Why am I trying to win over an unsustainable species? As an Aspie, why am I even caring what the bully thinks of me? He thinks I'm it's a curse word that begins with A, but not just one, but the biggest one he's ever met in his life. You know, I wonder about that. How many people do they call that? But apparently there's just a special place reserved for a certain type of A. And I don't mean Aspie. You're not just an A to them. You're the biggest one they've ever met. Why do they go out of their way to detonate and reveal that they don't like you? Are you that important? Are you that much of a threat to them? Apparently you are. This is why jerk boyfriends often go insanely jealous over some geek that their girlfriend would never touch, because the wolf sees the dog, knows the dog is superior, and knows it's a matter of time before the she-wolf figures that out. The she-wolves, unfortunately, still breed to wolves. They breed to the alpha males. Yeah, we hate our president, but when you ask a woman what her ideal husband or boyfriend is, guess what? He fits that bill to a T, doesn't he? So, at some point, the women are going to have to call on other women to stop polluting the earth with these bad boys, or they're going to have to stop complaining about it, which of course they won't do. You don't like men who harass you on the street, even though a cat call used to just be called heckling? Well, that man has a mother. Yes, he did have a mother who taught him not to be a wimp, a mother who looked for a bad boy. Well, you know, you are what you sleep with. If all your girlfriends are sleeping with bad boys, don't be surprised if your child has to play with their children who are all bullies. So at some point, while you can't control female sexual selection, you can definitely encourage the right choices through information, through education, and through taxation. We don't want smokers, we tax cigarettes. We don't want obese people, we tax fast food. It's just the way it works. Now, applied to the Aspie, if the Aspie will rule the world one day, I can tell you immediately that polygraphs will probably become the norm because they don't lie. Why would I fear a polygraph if I'm not lying? In fact, I want a polygraph, but if a world is run by liars, they're not going to let you use polygraphs in court because that's a weapon for them. The lie, that is. The polygraph is their kryptonite. Nothing to hide, nothing to fear. Now, again, applied to breeding, women are eventually going to start choosing men who are Aspies because they're going to see that they are the winners. Unfortunately, in a corrupt society, you can't follow the money, because if money is a reward for corruption, then a woman who chases money is chasing evil at the same time. She'll think she can get the money and then change the guy into somebody good, but she can't. She can't even change a man into an evolved Aspie, basically, or a wolf into a dog. The wolf has to do that itself. The DNA doesn't take outside input. If it did, we could breed the dog into 500 other species, but we don't. We get 500 different expressions or breeds of dog. So the woman who's trying to tame the bad boy is fighting a losing battle. He will always be a bad boy. The woman who wants the good guy with the bad boy traits, yeah, I mean, those are like the tough breeds of dog, like the German Shepherd and whatnot, and those are very appealing to women. You know, the collared bad boy. Unfortunately, though, what usually happens is they're just basically taking a wolf into their house, and the wolf will take over the house. You can't turn a wolf into a dog. Just choose the dog in the first place, but that doesn't give the woman the best of both worlds. Well, eventually, this is going to become obvious as the Aspies gain power, and they have started gaining power on the internet. Several have become billionaires, and this is what you're seeing now, is a battle, unlike any other before, where it's not just a political divide, but it's a genetic divide. You have the wolves, the loud, stupid, violent people, and dishonest people who want to rule the world with what we call conflict theory. They want to starve the poor. They talk about handouts, welfare. What they're really saying is, I want feudalism. I want a world where I can enslave the poor, where women will beg me for sex because they need money, where people will beg for jobs because they need work. The more evolved, sustainable people are the socialists, who say, we're not violent, we don't need police officers. In fact, let's make violent crime punishable by life in prison, which the Aspies, I believe, will do one day. And their behavior, as it takes over, will cause women to start thinking, oh, DNA intelligence is now the new marker of a winner. If you're looking to breed, like if you were a female wolf and you had a choice between breeding to dogs and wolves back whenever they were equal on this planet, the woman who wanted to help herself would breed to the wolf because, he could bite somebody or steal something. But the woman who wanted to evolve would breed to the dog because she realizes that he is sustainable, that the human is providing for him, that he's just basically a better bet for her future generations. When that shift happens, that's when the Aspies will take over. And it's already starting to happen. This is your basic nice guy versus jerk. Oh, it's like they're different species. Well, they are. But to get back to the original point of my video, to call somebody with Asperger's mentally ill, if there is a mental illness that makes me smarter, non-violent, not as loud, and lets me live invisibly because I finally realize I'm dealing with a different species and I don't need to win over these people who seem to want to set me up. They first engage me, tell me to come over to their party, and then laugh at me for making an idiot out of myself, when really all I did to make an idiot out of myself was go to the party in the first place. There's, again, we set people up to fail and we laugh at them. Well, what do you do if I don't play your game? What do you do if I don't care if you like me or not? Well, then, you'll avoid me? For how long? Is that a promise? Again, you seem to think that because your food is not in my refrigerator that I should be depressed. Everybody's like, oh, look at those clothes you wear. Well, who cares? I get to decide if I like my outfit. I wear this because it's the same outfit every time. It's just a uniform. I have the chess set here because it's a prop. It's just a good way to make videos. It doesn't mean I care what you think. I've had people insult my walls in my apartment. Have you ever been in this apartment? It costs $1,000 a month. It's not a cheap apartment. It's like the people who insult my walls. They say, oh, your filthy walls. They're not filthy. They may not have been painted in the last few years because I'm allergic to paint, but I could throw a coat on it. But why? Much more important to me is the food that I cook, which is cleaned. I don't have a dishwasher, and you say, oh, he doesn't have a dishwasher. What about his dishes? I pour boiling water over them. Problems have solutions. Priorities are not the same. In fact, the people who tended to comment on my house generally are not Aspies, because Aspies have bigger things to worry about. But they're acting like, one, they have the right to judge me, two, they're superior to me, and three, their opinion matters to me. Why would it? I'm supposed to live their way. Well, when they're done telling me what they think I need to know and putting me in my place, they might want to consider maybe they don't know everything. That's another story for another video. But as an Aspie, and I definitely am one, I wish I had known more when I was younger, because we trust other people, and part of that trust has us going to hang out with people that we really shouldn't even be talking to. We think, oh, it must be us. It's not good to think these things of people. And I didn't think these things of people initially. But as I saw research on how wolves evolved into dogs and how apes evolved into humans, and I see that an Aspie is clearly some type of evolution who only has problems because of the world in which they live and the people around them, I have to start thinking maybe that is the marker. Maybe that is the path towards our species' next evolution. In fact, it would make sense. Don't we evolve to correct the mistakes of the previous species? Our mistakes now are exploited by the sociopath. We complain about sociopaths, but they don't break laws, they just exploit stupidity. It's your fault for trusting them. A woman sleeps with a sociopath and he doesn't call her. Well, then why did you sleep with him without demanding a wedding ring? Of course, if you do, he'll throw a tantrum because he can't, he's dishonest. Honesty is like kryptonite to him. Testing him for honesty is like kryptonite. And he'll run away saying it's your loss. Well, yes, it's your loss. Taking out the trash is your loss too. But if you buy into that wolf logic, if you buy into the idea that you have to win over these inferior people who aren't even in your species, yes, you're going to have a problem as an Aspie. On the other hand, if you seek out other Aspies, you have simple rules where a wolf will come by and say, oh, I'm not like them, I'm honest, and they'll demand your trust and say, I'm sorry, I don't trust you. Then they'll say, you have issues because you don't trust me. Oh, really? So you come to me, you want me to trust you, and then when I don't, for good reason, you attack me and insult me saying I deserved it. You just proved my point. I like seeing us evolve towards the Aspie way of life. We need to make violent crime much more serious. If you hit somebody once, I want you in jail for 5 years. And if you hit somebody twice, or you ever commit that crime twice, I want you locked up for life. If you threaten someone, I want you in jail for 3 years. And if you threaten someone twice, 10 years. If you threaten anybody 3 times or 3 people once, life. Let's get serious about this behavior. Let's shut up these alpha males once and for all. Women need to be the gatekeepers here, because as long as pretty women are rewarding these men, not only are they polluting the earth with the very men who will make life miserable for the evolved women, but they are making life hell for everybody. So women need to get with the program and start seeing which men are smarter, which are more evolved, and which one they want their children to be like. And yes, you can say I'm right in theory, but, well, the alpha male has all the money. Money doesn't mean anything when it's not earned. Lance Armstrong's gold medals don't mean anything if he was juicing, which he, I think, admitted to. And when, of course, competing against him, you have to compete against somebody who's juicing, and, you know, again, the whole system falls down. So if you believe the best man should win, you need to rethink what the best man is. It's not somebody loud, stupid, and violent. There's a saying in the military, don't fight yesterday's war. The internet has changed the world incredibly, so anything you were told before the internet took over, and even afterwards, before it became obvious that the internet had changed things, probably isn't very accurate right now. And worse, we have groupthink in the form of Google, who, by the way, is publishing this video and allowing you to think whatever you want. But Google has a way of causing everyone to rely on the same information. And it's not Google's fault. Google is just a reflection of the society which produced it. And a large part of that society is groupthink. But Google also gives an equal voice to people like me and to people who are Aspies with differing points of views. And it lets us compete on the open market. In fact, if you check my free speech review video, I can review sites here. I could even make a negative review of Google, and they would let me put it here. I've done that, actually. I have the Google tax video. But you see, I'm not really criticizing Google anymore because they're consistent. You know what you're getting with them. In a world full of Aspies, Google would adapt. In a world full of wolves and alpha males, Google has adapted. You know, they let you lie about people, and they don't remove it because they don't have to. They're not legally required to. To them, if you want to make it different, pass a different law. But again, try teaching a group of wolves that it's better to act like a dog, and yeah, you're fighting a losing battle. But to anybody with Asperger's, just start thinking about, anytime you feel bad about yourself that you haven't won somebody over, did you ever ask for this person's opinion, or did they try to force themselves on you? Oh, I was just being nice. No, they weren't being nice. They were scouting you. That's why they had to talk to you, to find out if you're useful to them. To figure out what to do with you. That's unevolved thinking. An Aspie assumes you're another creature, that you're honest, that you belong here, and tries to respect you. And often is thought weak for doing that. So, anyway, based on the above, or the foregoing, or whatever we would call it in the video, I have to say that Asperger's most definitely is not a mental illness, and to call it such is a crime against humanity, with humanity defined as the larger humanoid species. That includes Neanderthals, everything back to the first humanoids, Homo sapiens, and this new species we call Homo sentiens, and which everybody else calls Asperger's, or Aspies. Now, if you have Asperger's or an opinion on this, please leave it in the comments. There will be other videos along these lines, but my hair will probably be gone because I'm about to do the hair video. And I look forward to speaking to you. I'm Ray Gordon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.